I'm not insane. I'm not insane. Welcome back to another episode of the Campfire Thoughts. I am your host, Adrian, and today at the campfire I have my very good friend, Russell Herden. How you doing, Russ?
What's going on, dude?
What's new with you? I haven't heard from you in quite a long time.
Not like a whole lot. I've just been sort of riding the train of unemployment here. As you know, I got laid off from the popular soda beverage company I was working for, and that happened 3.5 weeks into this whole pandemic outbreak thing.
I was actually very surprised that they were still having you go to work even though the pandemic was happening.
Yeah, I mean, they're still an operating business. They just did a few rounds of layoffs, and they essentially got rid of the newest people first, which makes the most sense as far as seniority goes. You know, they're not going to lay off someone who's been there for 15 years. They're going to get rid of the new guys. So I was in that pool, and since then, I'm looking for work. The job market right now isn't the best, and the jobs that are available are
a little lackluster and something that you don't want to do.
Right. They're definitely lackluster. They're jobs that I wouldn't want to do. They're, you're kind of exposing yourself to any sort of potential threat as far as the virus goes. I'm not really too worried about it, though. I kind of lean towards the other end of that. But I've been streaming. I've been streaming some. I have an account on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/Chet_Lowry. And aside from that, I've been fishing and playing disc golf.
Oh, nice! You're going fishing again? Getting any good catches out there?
Yeah, actually. So the beginning of the season was really slow for me. In like early spring when the water was cold, it was just like I was getting skunked all the time. I didn't catch a fish until late spring, and I had been fishing kind of steadily.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, but once it picked up, it really picked up. So a few days ago, I was out in Rutland with a buddy of mine, and dude, I caught pretty much everything you could catch on that lake. It started with a catfish in the middle of the day, which is a weird time to catch a catfish.
Yeah, isn't the best time to catch catfish like towards dusk?
Yeah, and even at night. But I always catch them on accident. I was actually having that conversation with my buddy as we were driving out to this lake about how I hook catfish when I'm fishing for other things. So it started with a catfish. I pulled some pickerel, some black crappie, largemouth bass, some perch, red breast sunfish, bluegill, and some brown trout. So
nice.
a little bit of everything, a solid spread. And I had a similar spread out in Ashburnham, Massachusetts yesterday. But a few less variants, but it was definitely a wide spread of fish. It's been going good.
That's awesome. I'm a bit jealous myself. I haven't been fishing lately. None of the places around here are open to give fishing licenses. Even like the Walmarts around here, because you can normally go to a Walmart and go to the outdoor area and they have a person giving fishing licenses. Ever since the pandemic started, they put a sign on there saying that they wouldn't be giving out licenses. Like, it's now to the point.
It's very weird that they wouldn't give out licenses.
Yeah, but they canceled like all the hunting seasons in Colorado. They pretty much canceled the camping season too.
That's crazy, man.
All the open forests, the Arapahoe Forest, the Rocky Mountain National Forest, those are all shut down right now. Even the Gunnison and Grand Junction Forest are closed. Like, they have cops that barricade out every entrance and all that because there's too many people going out and just open camping, and they're not able to keep the social distance, I guess.
That's crazy, man, because Massachusetts, I mean, like, things are, like, numbers-wise, a little more extreme over here, and, like, there's a lot of things that we can't do, and there's a lot of regulations that are in place in this state that aren't necessarily in place in other states. But one thing that they were adamant about from the beginning was you can still get your fishing and hunting licenses. Fishing and hunting is still on. They still stocked all the lakes. You can still go camping. You can still do all of these things. But I'm thinking maybe it's possible here because, Colorado, like, those sort of outdoor activities is, like, such a huge focal point that there are a lot more people doing that any given day. Whereas, like, in Massachusetts, people just, for the most part, they just, like, go to work and go home and drink. Like, there's a community of people who go out hunting and fishing and hiking and stuff, but it's a smaller scale than Colorado.
Yeah, definitely. Like, Colorado's known for the
we could do it.
tourism for hiking and camping and going through all these different forms of land formations.
Right. I mean, you can go in any direction and, climb a 10,000 foot plus mountain. And in Massachusetts, we don't have anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. We have too many 14Ks.
Right.
But they did kind of open up camping season for this year.
Kinda.
It's under reservation only, so the only way that you can go camping is you have to find a reservated campground, and you have to rent out the space for the time being. But also, you can't still get within 6 feet of people, so you have to be spaced out between whoever you're camping with, and you can't ever be seen close together.
That's crazy, man. I was in the grocery store yesterday picking up some things, and I was like walking out of an aisle. No, this wasn't in the grocery store. I lied. This was in Walmart. I was grabbing some hooks and a new crankbait lure. So I was in the fishing aisle at Walmart, and there was like another guy and his wife in that aisle, and then this other dude kind of came around the corner to also go in the aisle, and an employee came up out of the woodwork and was like, I'm going to have to ask you to step out of the aisle at least until these people are out of here. So, they're keeping a close watch on how close people are together, and they're enforcing it, which I feel like that's one of the biggest challenges of this thing is, like, no one really knows, like, what's going on, so it feels weird to have people enforcing regulations that are based off of speculation.
Yeah. I also feel that people don't honestly understand how far 6 feet is. Like, I went to the gas station and there was just people just like a foot away from each other. And you hear the girl talking to the guy about how she loves social distancing and how she never has to get too close to a person. I'm just like, you're in this guy's, like, asshole right now. You need to take, like, 4 steps back. What the fuck is wrong with you? You're not social distancing.
Yeah, I'm over it, man. I want all this shit to be done with.
I mean, we almost were over with it really, really quickly. Did you hear that there was a meteor that came within 4 million miles of Earth?
No, I did not hear about that.
I mean, 4 million miles isn't really all that close. We're about...
As far as space is concerned, it's pretty close, though.
Yeah. Like, between us and Mars, I think it said that we're about 12 million miles between us two. So that's only a third of that. But the size of the meteor was the problem. It was a mile wide, and it was going to hit right in Sacramento. Now, if it was to hit in Sacramento, it would have exploded so largely that it would have taken off the entire bottom half of the U.S. And that would have included a part of Utah, or not Utah, a part of Nevada, a part of Arizona, and a part of California.
Good, the old Fortnite needs a fucking meteor, if you know what I'm saying. Sorry, Callie. You did me dirty.
And, they did... This asteroid was caught beforehand, so this isn't like a surprise asteroid that came by. In 1998, the asteroid was named 1998-02. OR2. Order. But in 1998, they estimated that it was going to hit Earth, and it was going to hit in Los Angeles. Just over time, it ended up hooking towards the right, and it just passed straight by the U.S. I guess it was something that you could see from the skyline.
So, these meteors, when do they come up with the prediction that, like, oh, it could hit Sacramento? Like, it seems like there's a pretty big variance if it could either hit Sacramento or be 4 million miles away from the planet. So, like, do they make those predictions, like, when it's far out?
Yeah, they do. It says harness... Oh, what's this guy's name? It's Harness something. Steve Harness.
Hargus Ripperfield.
Steve Harness is the scientist that saw it and named it back in 1998. The original time point he saw it from the first moment was in 1994. So he took 4 years of data, seeing at which angle it was coming from, and said that it was going to hit here. But, you know, math is not always correct, so... And over...
Right.
You know, a course of time. This was back in 1994. It's 2020. That's...
Right.
What? 22 years?
Yeah, that's a lot for predictive mathematics.
Yeah, so he probably came very close, but his words to the governor was probably like, oh, well, it's either going to hit Los Angeles or it's not.
And it didn't. So he was, he's right either way.
Yeah.
And I like that kind of setup.
He was not going to be wrong.
You know?
Yeah, agreed.
Oh, yeah. Classy. When I would burp like that in my house growing up, my stepdad, I could hear him from, like, across the house. I'd be, like, upstairs in my room. He'd be downstairs in the living room. I would let out a long burp, and I'd just hear, God damn it, Russell, show some respect. and, like, of course, that just made me laugh and burp more because I thought it was funny. Well, no, I didn't think it was funny. I knew it was funny.
God damn it.
Show some respect. I don't think burping is necessarily disrespectful.
No,
it's not like I'm farting in his face,
Yeah, I feel that farting goes a little bit more disrespectful than burping can. Because with burping, it's just gas coming out of your body. At least most burps, if they smell for just a little bit.
Yeah, it's not actual shit particles entering your airspace.
Yeah, it's just the beer I had from 30 minutes ago. It's just the leftover yeast. I'm sorry.
Yeast?
Yoast?
Yosted the bread. I yosted the dough.
First you gotta yost your dough, and then you gotta yeast it until it's yoded.
Until it's yoist.
Keep the dough yoist until it's ready to cook. Let rest for 30 minutes. Speaking of resting, did you know that in Korea they have something called the fan death?
The fan death?
Yes, it's a wide belief in Korea that if you leave a fan on in your room with a window closed, you could die from it.
What's the theory behind this?
So this was
Asking for a friend.
This was a big theory that was placed in the 1920s and 30s. They were saying that the government was telling Koreans that the risk of keeping a fan on in your room can lead to nausea, asphyxiation, or facial paralysis. But the one main conspiracy on why this even became is that the South Korean government was trying to get people to use less energy during the summer. Because I guess they were going on a large energy shortage while it was really hot in the 90s. But there have been some tests that have come up from it to try like proving it or not. In the 70s, there was a large amount of people that were dying from fires and from the fans, and people dying from mesothelioma in the 70s. And that was due to a lot of the fans' blades being made with asbestos.
Oh. I'm making asbestos as best as I can.
You know, they need to be in Colorado, or not in Colorado, they need to come to the U.S. You tell them asbestos, and man, they can get compensation right away.
If you or a loved one has suffered from mesothelioma,
Call now. You may be entitled to compensation.
yeah, I have a feeling that you're not entitled to compensation. I have a feeling that it's a scam, even though that it's on surface level television. I just have this gut feeling that there isn't a corner of the universe where people are sitting around in an office just like, how do we get people money? How do we make sure that people have more money? That just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well,
if anything, they're like, how do we get more money out of people who want money?
That's exactly what it is, because, you know, it's all lawyers. Like, you call them, it's a lawyer line. I called it when I was young, just trying to figure out, like, what it was. I was like, do I have mesothelioma? Have I been around asbestos?
Can I get money?
And call them, am I entitled to financial compensation? And they're like, well, have you ever been in a building that was filled with asbestos? No. Have you ever worked for a company that had you around a building with asbestos without a proper respirator? What? How old are you? 7. Okay, sir, have a good day. But I feel like it's just a whole bunch of lawyers, and, you know, they do the lawyer thing. They find out what company that you had to work for that had asbestos around in the buildings, or had you around asbestos without a ventilator and respirator, and then they take that company, they sue them for an amount, and then take a percentage of your findings. You know, like those work compensation lawyers like Frank Azar?
Yeah.
He does that type of stuff. You know, you get hurt, he goes after the company or the person that hurt you, they sue them, and then they give you money, and then they take a percentage of said money. It's normally, you know, not insanely ridiculous. I think at max they can only take like 24%. But
let's say, you know, you got a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. That's a fuck ton of money for the lawyer, dude.
Oh, yeah. And I don't want to...
I don't know maths or nothing, but, I mean, 24% of, like, $1 million is, like, $240,000. I don't know.
I like money, I guess.
I don't know. It's like I'm getting a bunch of money from the government, but money can't buy happiness, so I'm still miserable.
I don't know. It's like I want to buy nice things, but nothing's open to buy nice things too.
I don't know. It's like I keep impulse buying video games to fill a void in my life that I'll never fill.
World of Warcraft's cool, I don't know.
I don't know. It's like I was playing World of Warcraft last night, and I found a bot farm of somebody cheating.
Ooh, did you report them?
I reported him and his fucking 12 bots. So the way he was doing it was, it's multi-boxing. So you have multiple accounts open in multiple windows on your computer. So you'll have like 8 instances of World of Warcraft running on your computer at the same time. And so all of these accounts are running at the same time. And he'll set 7 accounts to follow one account, right? So think of it like you have a main, and then you have all of these support accounts. So you have 1 main account, 7 support accounts. And then he'll make a program that runs the character in like a circle, pressing the tab key. And what tab does is it'll target whatever's closest to you, if there is an enemy close to you. And so the way the program would work is the person runs around, 7 bots behind him, is running in circles, pressing tab. Once he gets a target, his macro is set to cast a spell. And once he casts his spell from his main account, the other 7 accounts cast a spell at the same time. So whatever he's shooting at, which in this case was wild boars, these like pig things, when he would shoot a fireball at it, 7 frost bolts from the mage behind him would come out at the same time, and it'd instantly kill that creature. And then he just puts it on an endless loop. So these 8 characters are running around in a circle, killing boars infinitely, just to level all of these accounts while, you know, he fucking watches Netflix or lives his life. And the people who do this to make money, to make real world money. They make a bunch of gold on bot accounts, or they bought the accounts up to max level and then sell them. But it's a legitimate hustle for some people, but it ruins the game for others.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't that just kind of taking everything fun about the game and then putting it to the side and being like, I'm just an OP asshole?
It's definitely it takes away from the game for sure. Especially, you know, just like community wise, and like especially in PvP. You know, there are times where I will play PvP games in World of Warcraft, and there are bots that are just idling, like they're running in place, like into a wall the whole game, just so they can collect the honor points for playing the match. And essentially those just run 24/7, generating honor points for never killing anyone and never doing anything. They just run into a wall. The whole point of running into the wall is so they don't register as AFK. But yeah, no, it's a huge problem. But Blizzard also, I feel like, doesn't do too much about it because they benefit from the problem. Just like, you know, how Ticketmaster benefits from people scalping and shit like that.
Yeah.
You know, like Ticketmaster is never going to, if you're like, hey, I want to buy 1,000 tickets to this concert that's coming up at Fenway Park, they're never going to be like, no, you can't buy that many.
That's too much. You can't do that. It's too much.
They're going to sell you as many tickets as you want. You can go flip them for however much you want. Like, sure, it's against the terms of service, but they're not going to do anything about it. They're making their money, and they know that by supplying you, they can make even more money.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's very similar in Warcraft, where Blizzard knows about it, but the amount that they do about it in the grand scheme is slim.
Yeah, very. So,
Slim shady.
Have you had any restaurants that have tried opening during this time period that have gotten shut down near you?
No, not that I know of, like people being like, I'm not taking this shit anymore, we're opening, but there's a lot of restaurants where you can get takeout and shit from.
Have your guys' strip club been trying to do like takeout and stuff?
Strip club? Yeah,
like out here, Shotgun Willie's was doing takeout for their steaks and stuff.
Oh, I don't know. We used to have a strip club here in Fitchburg that was, from what I was told, I mean, I was a kid when it was around, so I never got to experience it. But I was told that it was just really a seedy place. But it was called The Other Side, and it was torn down when I was like maybe 16. And on top of that, like, I'm sure there's like a strip club in Worcester or something. I've never been to a strip club in my life, and I don't really have any like inclination to go to one. But I've heard that in the South, any strip club that has barbecue is worth going to. I don't know where I heard that, but I've been told it's a thing.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, I would try the barbecue just to try the barbecue. I don't think I would go for the strip clubs.
That's essentially what I gathered from wherever the fuck I heard that was. It's less about the strippers and more about the barbecue that they have. But that's in the South. That's a whole different fucking ballgame. But I'm sure in Worcester and in Boston, these strip clubs, they have to be doing something to make that money. I think like all the girls are on OnlyFans now, even ones that aren't strippers. You know, everyone and their mother is on OnlyFans.
Yeah, I'm gonna start my own OnlyFans account where I just tell you how to live your life. You know, get up in the morning, make your bed, fold your laundry.
Dude, there was this guy who was like, he would shave his legs, and like he would essentially like bend his leg like back towards his thigh, his calf back towards his thigh, you know, like a bent knee position, and he'd shave his leg, and then he'd put girls' underwear over his knee, so it looked like a girl wearing underwear, and he was taking pictures of this and selling it on the internet, and he was making a boatload of money off of just putting underwear on his leg.
I bet he would make a ton of money. A whole bunch of people get off on that. One of Ellie's friends was literally selling her socks for the longest time, and she would make like $60-$70 per pair of sock. And it's just like, what the fuck? And she said that she ended up stopped doing it because her husband would, you know, moderate the guys that she was doing it with and make sure they didn't get creepy. One of them started like texting Eddie and was like trying to sext him and shit. And he was like, I'll pay you more if you let me show you my dick. And he calls him and he's like, hey bud, so like you can't text my wife anymore, and you've been texting me this whole time. So they stopped doing it, but like that's really fucking creepy. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean it's like a whole business, you know. I knew somebody who fucking was like selling underwear. It's just like, I don't know, that shit disturbs me so much. Like I don't know. I don't even want to say I'm not kink shaming, because I am kink shaming. Why the fuck are you smelling someone's underwear, dude? That's so creepy.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
Yeah, it's a lot of suspect.
It's a lot of like
from what I gather,
red flags everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to talk about a little bit of history. Get away from underwear and let's talk about people that go crazy.
Okay.
So, oh no, today's underwear falls out. Wait, how? Just how?
That's never happened to me at the grocery store. So I just sent Adrian this meme that I found on the surface level of Google just now, but it's a bad luck foul bachelor frog, which is an old meme format, by the way. But it says, wear same pants 2 days in a row. Yesterday's underwear falls out of pant leg at the grocery store. It's never happened to me at the grocery store, but I've definitely put on yesterday's pants and been like in my house, and I'm like, what is this sensation at my ankle? And it's my underwear from the day before.
See, I get it before I even go around. Like, I'll put it on, and I can feel like clothing within clothing. So as soon as I put it on, I'm feeling it around. I'm like, nah, something's not supposed to be there. Something's not. What is that? And I'll pull like out a sock. That happens a lot because Ellie wears those like no-show socks, and she likes to get the fun print ones. So they get like super magnetized in the dryer, and they'll just like cling to the inside of my pants. So I put them on, and I'm just like, what the fuck am I feeling in my pants? What is that? And I go in there and I pull out a fucking sock that has a pig on it. I'm just like,
Piglet.
little Porky.
It's got little Aeneas on it.
We're trying to get some Cuddle Clone socks and make it Anea. I actually have a video going to... It's probably going to turn off here soon, but I have a doggy video for Anea to put on the podcast. And right now she's upside down, her teethers are showing, and she's sleeping.
Aw. She does lay upside down quite often.
And I think I got a good picture of her teethers showing, because she's like smiling in her sleep. She's gonna go through surgery in June.
Oh,
She
darling.
she's finally getting fixed. We're getting her spayed.
That way she can't be reproducing out here.
Yeah, we're not about, going and making her go through puppies. She should have a happy life where she's just spoiled.
I agree. We should make her dog ice cream.
Oh my god. Every
for post-surgery.
Every summer we make her watermelon treats. We get like coconut milk, and coconut shavings, and then a whole watermelon. I'll grind up the watermelon into a puree, and we fill them into ice trays, and we have like these little paw print silicone trays, and we throw those in the freezer, and we give those to her as treats. She fucking loves them.
Oh yeah, I remember giving her some of those tasty cubes.
Oh, those things were dank. I could eat those for days. Those were so good.
Yes. Oh bear, dude.
Oh my.
Oh bear. He's got that Eastern chungus.
He's got that big chunk.
Any chunk will do.
So, Russ, do you know about the Granby Killdozer? And who Marvin Haymayer is? Haymayer?
The Killdozer guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know about him.
Do you know about his story?
I remember kind of like doing a dive on it at one point in time. I don't remember it clearly at this, like, now, but something along the lines of, like, the people in the town, like, there were certain companies or people who own companies that, like, fucked with him or fucked him over, and he was, like, a mechanic, I think. So he spent his free time in his shop souping up this bulldozer into what ultimately would be called the Killdozer. And it was just this fucking massive bulletproof tank. And he drove it through the town, destroying the businesses of the people who did him wrong. And as the tank was no longer, like, it couldn't move because he had fucked it up from driving it through everything, and the police started to close in on him, he killed himself inside the vehicle. Yep. That's what I remember.
Yep, that you do have the overall story. I'll just go into a little bit of deeper of what all happened. So, with that death, that was the only death and the only injury during the entire incident. This happened June 4th in 2004, and of course, Granby, Colorado. Marvin Haymayer destroyed 13 buildings, causing $7 million worth in damage. Originally, in his backstory, he came to Colorado in 1992 in Grand Lake. He bought 2 acres of land to open up a muffler shop. He would work on cars and stuff. And in 2001, Mountain Creek Concrete Incorporated came to him with a contract asking to buy out his land so they can build a concrete factory across from him. He did not give any signatures yet, but the company already sought out zoning contracts and started building. So while they were building, they cut off his water, they cut off his electricity, and they moved the pipelines for his sewage from a sewage line that would go right behind his muffler shop to a sewage line that went across the street behind the concrete lot where they were starting to build. That's the only sewage that he could hit, which was roughly about a mile away. So the Granby County Sheriff came to him and gave him 8 different warnings and fines up to $2,500 for him improperly dumping his sewage into the public, because they didn't even tell him that they cut off the sewage line. So, you know.
So he was just dumping his... I don't understand. So was his sewage running into the public? Was he intentionally dumping his sewage?
No, he wasn't intentionally dumping his sewage. He was just, basically living life. And since his sewage line was cut off, they literally took a chunk out of his sewage line. His sewage was just kind of dumping into kind of a cesspool under where they cut. And they started to notice like that area where they dug to get there was starting to move and stuff.
Oh, so like when they cut his line, they didn't redirect that line anywhere. So like his sewage is still dumping, but it's now just like dumping out into the world.
Yeah, so he gets 8 of these fines, and then they tell him you need to build a line that connects to the one across from the construction lot. And that was going to cost him $80,000 to build it.
Well, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, because you gotta think he has to go and rent out trucks. He has to get concrete. He has to put down these pipes. There's a ton of things that he's gonna have to do, and he was just like, you know what? Nope. So he took his Komatsu D355A, also known as an MP tank. It's a regular Caterpillar bulldozer. It's just a straight yellow Caterpillar bulldozer that he equipped with a foot thick of sheet metal that was made from bulletproof metal from airplane parts that he had, and the inside of the lining of a concrete truck. So there was virtually no way that any bullet was going to reach inside of it. The way that it was set up so that he had almost like a convertible style bulldozer, and had a crane that he would lower this box of bulletproof armor on top of. The box also included 7 different cameras that were encased in bulletproof Pyrex or Plexi. And he even thought of...
So he used those cameras to kind of like see what's going on outside of the box.
Exactly. He had 2 monitors on the inside that fed to all 7 cameras. He even thought so far to put an air compressor to each of the cameras, and would just press a button and it would clear out all the dust on the cameras.
Jeez. That's methodical, man.
Man, this guy was smart when he was doing this. He even went out of the way to set up 3 different ports that he had loaded with a 50 cal rifle, a 308 semi-automatic rifle, and a 22 LR.
So he was shooting out of this thing as well as driving it through buildings?
Yes.
Oh,
he only sprayed out, I think it was 15 rounds.
Okay, so he wasn't going fucking wild with it. He was more so sending a message with the bullets.
Yeah, he was...
than trying to kill people specifically.
He was shooting signs. He was shooting gas tanks. Not gas tanks, propane tanks.
Okay.
But he was just shooting minimal things. He wasn't really shooting people. The only person that died is Marvin.
Okay. So he was just causing damage.
Yes.
That was his whole plan, was to fuck these
to
people
physically
up for fucking
cause some
him
damage.
over.
He
Okay.
once he got into the dozer, the first place he went to was that concrete factory. You know, it's a skeleton construction, so they have all the main points of where this building is standing, and he's just plowing through each of its support beams. Afterwards, he goes and does his place, and then goes out to the middle of the town, hits the town hall, he hits the newspaper factory, he even hits the mayor's house. And luckily the mayor wasn't there, but the mayor's widow was. She got out safely in time, but his house was completely destroyed.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't this rampage start by him? He turns the Killdozer on in his shop and drives it straight through the wall of his shop out into the streets. Isn't that how this whole thing started?
Exactly. He had his main shop, and then off to the side he had a shed. And what's funny is, in the pictures that you see of the shed destroyed, of the little hole, you can also see the second garage door is open. So this guy purposely was just like, I'm gonna go through the wall.
I could drive out of here, but fuck that.
Not as satisfying. I need to see how hard this pushes.
I can agree with that. It's not as satisfying to just drive out the door, to walk out the door when you could jump through the window. You know?
Exactly. Especially in the time of like, fuck it, I'm sending it.
Right. This is a full send situation.
Now, there's a lot of conspiracies to this whole situation, and I'll explain.
Okay.
So, while Marvin's destroying things, the sheriff has no idea what to do. He's calling in SWAT. There's going to be no efforts for the SWAT because they have helicopter teams that are trying to snipe him out with rifles, and it's not going through. They can't find a vantage point. You can see videos of the SWAT team literally walking with the tank on the side, like trying to put their gun into a part of the sheet metal to try firing it. At one point, you see one of the guys misfire, and he like pulls his hand back because his hand's literally on the barrel.
Oh,
not smart.
That's not good, bro. They teach you not to do that in your firearms class. Maybe they don't have those in Colorado, do they?
They do, but this was a time period when it wasn't, as big. Colorado now have more firearm protection and training classes for the SWAT and for our military and for our police department.
Okay.
So, Commissioner is sitting here with a huge decision. He can either try destroying the tank, or he can try getting into the tank, right? But with the amount of supplies and force that he has, it's not enough. No one can actually get into it. No, they don't actually have something to destroy the tank. So it is said that the commissioner reached out to the National Guard and asked them to bring a company with Javelin anti-missile or anti-tank missiles with them, or bring an Apache attack copter equipped with 2 Hellfire missiles. There is a recording of this happening with someone else saying that we're probably going to need them, but it's not said to whether that was the commissioner or whether that was someone from the state patrol.
Okay.
As they were talking about, getting the Hellfire missile to come out, that's when Marvin drove into a Gamble's hardware store and ended up collapsing into the basement of the hardware store, rupturing the radiator, fracturing the engine, and ultimately causing him to kill himself because he heard SWAT swarming in as soon as the engine completely ceased.
So he knew, my mission is as complete as it can be. Time to go out.
Yep. And there's tapes from him, and the last tape, he's saying that this is a message from God. God is sending him to do this. God wants him to do this. If God didn't want him to do this, then no one would have done any of the things that they've done to him.
I mean, that's definitely one of the dangerous angles of these faith religions is, you know, people can use it as a justification for doing some fucking crazy ass shit.
Exactly. It's like what the ATF and FBI did to Waco. Like,
Right. It's very similar.
They were just a religious party that were trying to live in peace, and the ATF was just like, you know what? We need to make sure that they have guns. And we need to make sure they hella have guns by shooting at them and trying to kill them. Like, you've seen the documentaries for Waco, right?
I have. Waco is quite the interesting tale. You know, they ATF is responsible for killing a lot of unarmed people and children, even in that situation.
76.
Yeah.
76 people died. And
I mean, obviously, there's the angle of it's not their fault because they told these people to come out and shit, but still, that's no justification for killing children.
And it's like,
that's
they also knew that tear gas is flammable. Highly flammable. So, you would think that maybe they would have taken the tear gas and they would have put it strategically into the house via gun. You know? Shoot it into the house instead of hooking it into a tank and then just shoving it into the house and spraying.
I didn't even know that device for a tank existed.
I didn't either until I saw this. I was like, that's a thing?
Yeah, dude, like, fuck that, man. I'd be shitting bricks if that shit ever came through my wall.
Just for no reason, too. You're just, like, chilling there, writing a book. You're dying a little bit because you're bleeding really bad, and all of a sudden, hey, look, there's this metal bar with a pole on the end? Oh, the pole opens. Oh, the air is spicy.
Ooh, very spice, thick air. Why it burning?
Thick air burn. I can't breathe.
Heckin' burn. Stop.
Give me my mask.
Need mask.
Well, speaking of masks, did you see that more states are trying to give out fines to people that aren't wearing masks?
Yeah, I feel like I might have mentioned this to you before, but if I didn't, I'll go through the rant now and possibly again. But here in Massachusetts, essentially in the beginning, when they were telling everyone that this is like not a big deal and everyone's overreacting, they were saying that you shouldn't be hoarding these masks, and anyone who has these masks at home should be donating them to nurses and other medical personnel. So that's what a lot of us did, right? So we had like a box of surgical masks at home. All right, I guess I don't need these because that's what they're telling us, so I'm going to go ahead and donate these. And then now, you can't even go into a grocery store without one on. But how are we supposed to have them on if we already fucking donated them to all the medical personnel? And, like, you can't buy them in stores, obviously. Like, I can't even get a fucking thing of oats so I can have oatmeal in the morning. There's definitely no surgical masks anywhere around here anyway. So, like, how the fuck am I supposed to have a mask on at all times if I can't buy any masks? So I have, like, a surgical mask. One. That's, like, obviously not going to... It's not going to stop the spread of fucking anything, honestly. But I have one mask that I have to wear if I want to go anywhere. And I just think it's ridiculous. You know, it's one day it's fucking donate all your masks. The next they're trying to fine me for not having one on. I just can't win.
Well, are they allowing you guys to do, like, shirts and bandanas as well, or is it just medical masks?
I don't know. I haven't, like... I just, like, heard that was a thing. I got fucking scolded in a CVS for buying stamps and not having a mask on by, like, the general manager. And so since then I've been putting this fucking mask on. But, like...
Well, if anything, stop using that mask. What you should try doing is you should, like... I keep an extra shirt in my car, and my mom has a scarf in her truck, So whenever I need to go, if I forget to bring a surgical mask, I'll just wrap my face with one of those. No one's going to ever say anything. They're going to be like, oh, you're covering your face. That's all I want.
Yeah, I mean, like, I have a bandana and shit like that, but I don't know. I'm just so fucking tired of this whole situation and covering my face, and I don't know. I think it's like fucking bullshit at this point. That's just me. I don't think the virus is bullshit. I think the virus is obviously a real thing.
No,
But I think the extent that, like, we're responding to it, where everyone's just, like, picking a little bit of this and a little bit of that and adhering to whatever fucking Facebook article they read that day.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's driving me fucking insane.
It's ridiculous on how much people are influenced by social media in this time period. Like, everyone wants to complain and stuff. Like, I have friends that tag me in things that are like, oh, I can't wait to be liberated from this oppression. And I'm like, this isn't oppression. This is literally the government trying to say, take care of yourself. And you're just saying, no, I don't do that. That's not me.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I had a friend that said that he's so tired of this and just wants to go back to the way it was. And then another guy tags me in it and says, oh, don't let Adrian hear that. He'll yell at you for not wearing a mask. And it's just like, I'm not, like, telling you what to do. I am suggesting what to do. I am trying to do the best for my family. I have multiple people in my immediate family that have low immune systems and that could probably die from this. Like, Ellie's mom has Crohn's disease, and the medication that she's on to keep her going every day lowers her immune system by 20%. So if she's to catch this, she's going to catch it, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse. So
yeah, there's definitely there's a lot of people out there that are at a higher risk. My grandfather's one of them. He has fucking Lyme disease.
See,
he's like falling and shit all the time. I can't even go see the guy. I can't go see him physically because I'm running the risk of maybe I'm an asymptomatic carrier. Or maybe there's a fucking molecule, this shit on me that gets on him. All I know is I don't want to be the one responsible for, my loved one getting fucking sick and even possibly dying from this thing. So, a lot of us are put into the shitty situation of having to stay away from people that we care a lot about.
Yeah, and it's not fair to them. It's not fair to us. It's not fair to everybody.
Yeah.
And we all know it's not fair. So why are we all still arguing about how it's not fair?
It's there's just so much uncertainty in it where, like, one day we know it all, and the next day we don't know anything, and conflicting quote unquote facts about this and that I feel like it's like Socrates, the Greek philosopher, said, a wise man knows that he knows not. Like, coming off as if you know what's going on, or you like it's foolish because we have no fucking idea. We can only do our best and try to work as a unit, like as a people, to to get through whatever the fuck is going on and onto the next phase of life. They were saying on the radio fucking yesterday when I was leaving the lake in Ashburnham that they expect things to be turned around in a minimum of 8 months and a maximum of 15 months. But I don't know where they're getting those numbers, or I just try to ingest less media on the subject as I can, or as little media on the subject as I can, because, like, I could speculate fucking all day and still get nowhere with it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, even here, they're trying to say that May 25th we're going to try reopening restaurants, and I don't even think that's going to happen. Ellie's dad heard that he can't even go back to work in October, and he works in the hotel industry. So it's like, how is he going to be out of work until October, and we're going to open back up restaurants on the 25th? Like, with these restaurants reopening, it's kind of a little bit crazy, too, because they're, like, telling people that you have to have a certain big enough location so then you can have people spaced out together. But you can't allow people to sit at the same table, and you can only have a certain amount of people in the restaurant at a time. So what are people supposed to do when they have parties of 6 people? You know, they want to take the whole family out. The whole family's going to take up a quarter of the restaurant?
Yeah, we need to figure out, we need to start living with this thing. However the fuck that's supposed to be executed, you know. Whether that is, taking these preventative measures, like, a more extreme sort of authority over the social distance or whatever fucking precautions we have to be taking, or, really doing everything we can to take care of ourselves while we, I don't want to say wait for a vaccine, because
until we can figure out
there's
how
a lot
to
more
do this.
going on than just waiting.
Yeah. We need to wait until we can figure out how to go about this. You know, they're starting to come up with some idea. They're trying to test out different things in different locations. So they're trying to get people out of their house, but it's just, we have to wait. We have to still play this by ear and take it day by day. We can't just be like, oh, it's been 2 months. All right, let's open it back up.
Yeah, I mean, as far as our country specifically is concerned, we're not doing that great in numbers when it comes to this virus. We were hit pretty hard and are being hit pretty hard with it, or at least that's what the fucking stats are telling us. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of whether or not the stats are legitimate or anything, but just going off of the Johns Hopkins University statistics, where our numbers are at versus where other countries' numbers are at. U.S. is,
we're up there.
It's not doing great. Yeah, we're up there. And we got to do whatever we have to do to take care of ourselves and our people,
Exactly. Because we could just, let everybody run free, and then we have another case of the Spanish flu or the bubonic plague. We're just wipes out a portion of the country.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm looking at the Johns Hopkins University
what does that say?
Live corona map right now. So the U.S. death count is substantially higher than any other country in the globe right now. So the U.S. is in, I'd hate to call it first place, but we're in first place with 93,863 deaths. And coming in second behind us is the U.K. at 36,124 deaths. So we're going to be at 100,000 deaths from this thing in the United States pretty soon here. There's 1.5 million cases in the United States, with Russia under us with 317,000 cases. So the United States has been ravaged by this thing. China, there's no telling what the fuck is going on in China. There are actually a lot of countries like that where there's no telling what's going on there, both because they might not be able to afford or access testing. They might be kind of fudging their numbers for political reasons. There's no telling. And that's not just like from country to country. This whole fucking thing is like that, where, we can only speculate. And this is my speculation off of this publicly available data from Johns Hopkins, where in a global scale we're doing poorly, and we need to do whatever the fuck it is we got to do to take care of ourselves.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I mean, 93,000 is a fucking big ass number of dead people. and 36,000 being the second place behind us, like that's a
It's a 60,000 difference. Like, that's so
Yeah,
big.
dude. Yeah, like trying to. I've been at festivals that have thousands of people at them, and like thousands of people in front of you, like at a main stage, looks crazy. 60,000 people in a crowd literally looks like a sea.
That's literally...
It looks like an ocean.
Yeah, that's literally those Slipknot videos where they're at Imperial Con, where there's just like an ocean of people of different, like, I'm not trying to say different colors, like you see different colors of like hair and hat and different just reminiscence of color from people from their shirts and stuff, and it just looks like this insane wave.
Yeah, and like, you know, the just to imagine that, you know, fucking that a whole sea of people like that deceased, like that's a lot of fucking people, dude. That is a shit ton of people. And the numbers are steadily going up. You know, they're the whole point of the social distancing is to change that spike and to flatten the curve, as they say.
And to get us to stop skyrocketing and instead...
Right. But, I mean, it's pretty steady. It's pretty steady right now. She's a bow bear.
But you know what I tried during this quarantine that I'm really happy that I tried?
What?
MeUndies.
What is that? Like an underwear prescription?
Yeah, it's like a subscription company for underwear.
I said prescription.
You said prescription. You trying to get your under perkies?
Yeah, baby.
But they send you these underwear that are like really, really soft and just very silky smooth, and they fit to your bod just like really well. Dude, they're like my new favorite pair of underwear. I bought one pair and I'm now looking at more and I'm like, I need more undies.
Unders.
More unders.
I'm gonna have to try that out, dude. I feel like I wear some plebeian underwear. I just wear fucking Hanes.
Oh, and they're mad sexy too. Like they form to your body, not like Fruit or Hanes do. I wear Hanes as well from time to time, and MeUndies just fits to you like a different form of underwear.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, they even have bralettes. I bought Ellie a bralette, and
What the hell is that?
it's like a sports bra. So you know how like sports bras, I guess with a sports bra, it's only like supposed to be one clip and a couple of wires. So it's not supposed to be like super stressful like regular bras. They have a whole bunch of clips and they have wires up the ass when you wear them. A bralette is just an elastic band that holds your breastises in place, and they use elastic to hold everything in place instead of any wires or any any straps or any hooks.
Okay, so it's just like an all cloth and elastic situation.
It's like a better sports bra, except it doesn't help when you're working out. If you work out in a bralette, you'll titties everywhere.
Oh, and they be working out in that shit.
Oh yeah, they be do. No shame to working out in a bralette. I just don't understand how people can do it.
I mean, it's such a thing at the gym that I frequent. Like, some of the shit people wear, I'm like, dude, you might as well just come in your underwear.
Exactly. Like, have you ever heard of Gabby Hanna?
No.
Do yourself
Google,
a favor.
show me Gabby Hanna.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do yourself a favor and Instagram Gabby Hanna. She works out a lot. I feel good for her. She has lost a ton of weight. She's gotten comfortable in her body. That's great for her. But literally, like, all she ever wears is workout clothing. And it's like, are you even wearing clothes? At this point, you don't even look like you're wearing anything. You're just wearing an elastic sheet over everything.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I'm talking about. Like all of the different spandexes and whatever the fuck you might call it. Okay, I think I've found the elusive Gabby Hanna.
She was a Vine star. It was originally the Gabby Hanna show. And once Vine crashed, she did very, very successful on Vine. But then once that fell apart, she went to YouTube, and I don't know, like,
so she gained a bunch of weight and then lost a bunch of weight.
She didn't even gain much weight. She just
That's
didn't like how her belly was rounded out, I guess. She wanted her belly flat. She flattened her belly. Naturally. She didn't go out and get, like, lipo or anything.
Yeah, dude, this is weird. Okay, so I found a DeviantArt page. Oh, this is so weird.
Of Gabby Hanna?
No, this person has a DeviantArt page where they Photoshop. Oh my god, this is so weird. They Photoshop like semi-famous people, these Instagram stars and what have you, Vine stars. They Photoshop them to have gained weight. Like, instead of like Photoshopping bigger people to smaller frames, it's the other way around. And wow, this is I didn't even know this was an angle. The comments on these are like, "Oh my god, this is great! Please do more." Hold on, let me share my screen so you can see this. Drag this over. Like, it's just, I had no idea that this I had no idea that this was a thing.
Oh man. Fucking anticipated.
Oh, dude. Yeah. That's why I was like, oh, she gained a bunch of weight, but she didn't. She lost the weight, but this one DeviantArt page
Some
took
guy
her, like,
was just
after
like
weight loss and photoshopped her back into being big.
Nea's upset that I'm not playing with her, so now she's throwing a toy around the living room.
I'm gonna fucking throw this thing until you call me Bo Bear.
Throw it on the ground. Dad. I feel so accomplished, my friend. Yesterday...
You feel accomplished?
Yeah, yesterday I just did like a whole bunch of choring. I went out, whacked weeds at my mother-in-law's house, got their lawnmower, took it over to my house, started mowing the lawn, literally got halfway through the last strip of the lawn that I had to mow, and ran out of gas. So I had to fix the truck real quick by putting in a new fuel injector connector, and then drove down, put gas in it, and was just like, damn, I've accomplished quite a bit.
Those are some serious chores, my guy.
My dudes. There's no weeds left in the yard.
I'm deep in the chore hole today. I'm like purging a lot of my physical possessions. After we are done with this recording, I have to go meet up with a couple of old bandmates of mine so they can look through some shit before I donate it all. I'm getting rid of multiple boxes of cassettes and VHS tapes and records, comic books, manga. Just getting rid of a ton of shit. Anything they don't want, I'm just going to donate, because whenever I do move, because I will move eventually, but whenever I do, I don't want to have to, or actually rather, I refuse to rent a moving truck just because I'm frugal. I would rather throw all of my stuff into my Hyundai and set off that way. So that's the plan, is get rid of a bunch of shit that is replaceable and throw the rest of my stuff in my car.
The only things you should really be keeping is your guitar, things that you've kept forever, and your clothes, right?
Right, so it's going to be... I have a new acoustic, so it's 2 guitars, a keyboard, all of my mics and mic stands.
Your computer.
Yeah, obviously the PC and the 2 monitors. And then it's my clothes. And I think, like, I should be able to fit all of it in my car, but it's going to be difficult. Especially the, like, PC. Because it's a PC and 2 monitors. I'm going to have to, like, bubble wrap the fuck out of all 3 of them.
Yeah.
And the drive is going to have to be completed within, like, 48 hours, because I can't have all those PC components in a fucking car that's like 120 degrees, you know?
Shaking just nonstop.
Yeah.
True. And
Yep.
you have an Elantra or a Sonata?
Elantra.
So it's the kind of bigger Hyundai?
Slightly bigger than a Sonata, but it's not like super spacious by any means.
I think you can make it in there.
I can. It's just a matter of, is all this shit going to actually fit?
And when is this shit actually going to end?
Yeah, that too. That's obviously a big one. It's really hard to move in the middle of all this.
So do you think boats and yachts are a waste of money?
Boats, no. Yachts, pretty much, yeah. But, like, people who own yachts just have more money than they could figure out. I have no idea how to word this. They have more money than they need, so they can just kind of spend it however the fuck they want it. And I guess, like, there's obviously a level of leisure and luxury behind owning a yacht and just driving around and whatever you do on a yacht. I assume get drunk and
Fish.
and shit like that. Yeah, some people fish off of yachts, but definitely owning a boat is, I think, worth the money as long as you get out there and use the boat. I think a lot of boat owners, especially people who have, like, motor boats of any degree, from small to large, a lot of people who buy them, the boat goes under a cover and sits in their driveway or their fucking yard for the majority of the time that they own it. Like the first year or 2 that they have it, they might go out all the time, but it seems like a lot of boats don't see the water as often as they should.
I think that buying a boat out, like, in Colorado, that's kind of silly. Like, I feel like a boat is more needed. Like, I could see someone in Massachusetts owning a boat. Like, how far are you from the water? Like 4 or 5 hours?
Not even, dude. Like, it takes a little over an hour to get to Boston. That's where the water is. So an hour and 15.
See, like, that's definitely worth having a boat. Like, the closest... I mean, you could bring out a boat anywhere in Colorado and put it in a lake, but, like, what is the point of doing that? Like, if you have a big boat, wouldn't you want to go and take it to the ocean and actually get some...
If you have a larger boat, it, you know, like I said, it becomes less and less viable. But I think owning something smaller, like a canoe, or even like a fishing kayak, or if you're one of those, a recreational kayak,
or even
that
like a
is
small
a lot,
raft.
Yeah, that's a lot more fiscally responsible and, like, feasible as far as, like, driving it somewhere and using it. But I mean, from what I remember living in Colorado, I'm sure that there are spots where it's better, but the fishing kind of sucked when I went out to fish. But I'm sure there are, like, niche spots that people don't really know as much about that are good. But the places I went to kind of sucked.
I mean, the places I've been to suck too. I've never caught a fish out here in Colorado. Seth has caught in a couple of bluegills out in Littleton, but I've never seen anything bigger than a bluegill out here. And I guess we're supposed to have like rainbow trout and Alaskan salmon and like some crazy, ridiculous big fish, but I never see them.
Yeah, when I went fishing with Seth, it was like I didn't know what kind of spot we'd be rolling up to, obviously. And it was just, like, I want to say it was near the mountain somewhere. There wasn't, like, a lot of foliage or anything. It's not like fishing out here. Like, out here, you're fucking out in the sticks, like, in the woods, and it comes out to a big lake or a big pond. Whereas in Colorado, you know, it was kind of this mountain terrain, and then there was, like, it seemed like a man-made lake, and there were so many fucking people fishing it. Like, it was packed, dude. It was packed. There was people everywhere.
Yeah, that's a lot of fishing spots out of here.
Yeah, and we didn't catch anything that day, but and that was like my only impression of fishing out there. But I'm sure there are like more remote places where you can fish that aren't so bad, like down towards like Montrose and shit like that.
I've heard that in Evergreen it can be a good place to go fishing, and there's some places up in Boulder that aren't really all that touched. You guys probably went to somewhere in Boulder and ended up in the man-made rivers. But I've also heard that fly fishing is the best way to catch fish in Colorado. And I've never been fly fishing. Have you ever done fly fishing?
I've never done it. My brother does it. My buddy Mike does it as well. And they both like make their own flies, and people who get into fly fishing, for the most part, seem to like really get into it, where they're like making their own lures and shit like that. And like, obviously, it's another tool in the arsenal, and having more tools just kind of gives you more versatility as a fisherman. But I've also noticed that, not necessarily with them, but with other fly fishermen that I know.
Yeah.
They like sort of become like purists about. That's a term that floats around in the culture, purists. But they become purists about the fly fishing thing, so much so that they're almost like condescending, where they're like, "Oh, you know, you're casting a spinning reel here. Like, why would you do that?" So like I think you can certainly pull fish fly fishing, and you can pull certain fish easier with that tech at times. But I would also argue that any kind of fish that you can pull fly fishing, you can also pull with a spinning reel or a bait caster. You just have to know how to set up different rigs, whether it be, you know, a weighted bobber rig or a jig or like a Texas or Carolina rig. There's all sorts of different ways you can set up the rod, and I feel like that's what will take you further than anything when it comes to angling different fish out of different bodies of water.
Exactly. I mean, there's always different forms and methods of catching fish. I mean, some people will just go up to the water with a stick and they'll just spear out fish straight from the river and be like, "I caught one."
Yeah, there are people who can pull fish out of the water with their bare hands. There are people who can catch a fish with a flashlight.
There's people that can catch fish with sticks of dynamite.
Yeah. You can even do, you can make fucking bait out of pretty much anything. You can make bait for carp out of grape soda and cereal.
Oh.
You just like make a sugary dough out of the Rice Krispies, or you use Rice Krispies or Wheaties, and you just saturate it with grape soda, and it makes like a sort of dough texture, and you put it on a hook, cover the whole hook with it, throw it in the water, and you're pulling carp out of the water in no time.
That's always fun.
Yep.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on to this episode, Russ. And I want everyone to go check out twitch.tv/Chet Lowry. Doing a lot of World of Warcraft and Valorant plays.
Yes, Yes, sir.
You gonna
That
start?
will be on.
You gonna start doing Minecraft too?
I don't know. So I was like beta testing my friend's. He's like setting up his own server to run off of a Raspberry Pi.
Mm-hmm.
So he wanted us to kind of stress test that for him while he was setting it up. So that's why I was on there the other day. So I'm not sure. Like, Minecraft's sort of like not my thing, but with the right crowd of people, like, I'll play it. But I'll definitely be playing Valorant. I'll definitely be on Remnant and Warcraft and pretty much whatever the fuck I'm getting into that day. But I'll be on tonight and Friday night, maybe even Saturday. I try to keep to the weekends.
Well, you know I'm gonna be watching any day that you go and play.
I appreciate it, homie.
Always. And everyone, go and check out our Facebook, Instagram, Twitters at Campfire Thoughts. If you want to join the conversation, you can email us at campfirethoughtspodcast@gmail.com. Thank you guys all for listening, and have a very tasteful and spooky evening.